We have a lot of homes in the area. We do a lot of fix and flip, short-term rentals as well. So this is going to be one of the short-term rentals. The topic is really fitting because we actually bought this project or this house subject to the existing loan. So I'm just gonna go over that as well. How many of you does not know what subject to is? I know Carl does. Who doesn't know subject to? Buying houses, okay, subject to existing loan. Nobody knows? You don't know? Okay. So I'm gonna go over that, but Phil is gonna go in depth into that. It's very interesting what Phil is going to be talking about because he's here locally, but he does that out of state. So that's really good. So I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit about the market update. This is from last month, December 2023. Home for sale in December 2023, 3,956 units. That's down 17% compared to last month, which is November. And it's down 19.5% compared to last year. So that means that we have low inventory, like we already know, but it's lower inventory than ever. Homes closed in December 2023, 1,926 units, and that's down 2.3% compared to November, and that's down 14.6% compared to last year. So even lower buyer action. Yes.
Sac, Placer, El Dorado County?
Sacramento County.
Sac County.
Yeah, just Sacramento County. Homes placed under contract in December, 1,875 units, and that's down 5.9% compared to last month. So again, the effect of rate hike is apparent, even though Fed had kind of promised that this year there's going to be a couple rate reductions. Okay, takes some time for the hike to actually affect the economy, and we can actually feel it, especially in real estate. Average price per square foot in December 2023, that's $309 per square foot. That's down 1.9% compared to last month, and that's up 4.4% compared to last year. So again, you can see that there's a drop, right, in the price per square foot, okay, coming compared to November 2023. But there's actually a 4.4% increase compared to last year, which is promising because that means that there's not really a price reduction that you can see in the homes that's for sale. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Like I would see like maybe 10-15% as a result of rate drop, but we don't really see that, which is good. So if you are an owner of a house, it's not really a bad idea for you to sell because you're not really selling at a discount. Okay? Stay put if you're a seller, just because of the fact that you're getting about $6 less per square foot, okay, as compared to November. We're going into like kind of like a hibernating season in real estate. So it's better to sell maybe in November, October, even September, but not a lot of people are out shopping for houses. Like a lot of people are out on vacation, so it's not a good time to sell in December. All right, so days on market. I highlighted this in red because it actually went up. It takes a seller 40 days to sell a house. Okay, that's up 21.2% compared to last month. Okay, so last month it was 33 days. Now it's 40 days. Okay, it takes like a week more time for you to sell a house. And that's down 18.4% compared to last year. I think this is really healthy still because that means that it's just less time for a house to stay on market before you can get it sold. All right. Sold versus original list price percentage in December 2023, 96%. So what that means is if you sold a house for $100,000 or if you list a house for $100,000, you'll get it sold for $96,000. Okay. And so that's down 1% compared to last month, up 3.2% compared to last year. So longer days on sale on market in December is 40. I think that realtors got to price these homes right to get it sold, because that just means that the closer this number to 100%, the more accurate realtors are in getting those homes listed. Does that make sense? Okay. So agents are more accurate on prices than last year. Okay. Because last year, if you compare this number in December, right, last year, it was like what, 92.8%, but this year is 96%. Okay, so there's maybe 8% of drop last year, but this year is like 4% drop, right? A home that's listed for 100,000, you're gonna get it sold for 96,000. Okay, that's why it's not really a good time for sellers to sell their homes, because you're expecting maybe like a 4% discount from buyers. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Average for sale price in thousands in December 2023. So that's I don't really look at this as much as average sold price in thousands in December. So that is the average, $590,000. And that's up 0.5% compared to last month, and that's up 8.1% compared to last year. So again, you would expect that this to go down, right? But it's not. It's still pretty. It's like up by 8.1% compared to last year, which is surprising to me, especially now everybody's talking about that we're in a recession, right? You can actually feel it, but like as a your house still retains a lot of value. Let's just put it that way. So price per square foot is down. Okay, was I think it was 2 slides ago, like $309. I think it was down.
Yeah.
But sold price, average sold price is up. Okay, so the only explanation that I can give is that there's just more bigger homes that are for sale, okay, in December. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, because the sold price per square foot, this is the sold price divided by the square footage of the home, right? So if this is down, but this is up, okay, that means that the denominator here is bigger than before. So there's probably more homes that's bigger that is getting sold than smaller homes. Okay, that's the explanation, because they're kind of like in conflict with each other. Months of inventory were 2.1 month. Okay, so it's right here. November was 2.4 months of inventory. So anything that's less than 3 months, that is the seller's market. 3 to 6 months, that's the neutral market. Over 6 months is the buyer's market. So we're still really low in inventory, 2.1 month worth of inventory. That means that we're still in the seller's market, okay? So that's down 12.4% compared to last month, yeah. So from 2.4 to 2.1, and that's down 4.6% compared to last year. So again, really, really low inventory, like 5% less than last year. So what that means is like, hey, if you're asking any seller, right, for price reduction, the answer is no. Because there's just less buyers and there's less sellers as well. So there's low supply and there's low demand. As a result, the price is not moving. Okay? So no one is selling in December. The inventory is so low, right? So no seller or owners is pumping supply into the market. Okay. Anyway, this is just my conclusion. This is my personal opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. If you're a buyer, I say that you would enter into the market and buy. There's less competition in the marketplace. Discount is apparent, and rate drop that is going to happen multiple times next year is going to help you. Okay, if you're a seller, I would say that if you're buying homes that's less than $490,000, wait, since price per square foot is lower despite the low inventory. Okay, this actually favors homes that's bigger than has bigger square footage, and the 590,000 is derived from the previous slide where I say that's the median price home that is sold in Sacramento County. If you have a home that's bigger than 590, okay, so the market, the trend there is that the market favors bigger homes, and since there's no inventory, you're gonna be one of the few in the marketplace right now. So it's going to favor you. Okay, if you're an investor, I say buy. Price per square foot is lower, and average sold price is all-time low since April 2023. Average sold price. So there's average sold price. Let me see if I can find that slide. Average days on market. Average sold price. I think it's this slide.
Yeah. 590.
597, right? And you're at 590 right now. Okay, since April 2023, we're at the lowest. I mean, yeah, this one is lower, but it's about the same. So, is it gonna go up? I think it's gonna go up because there is a lot of we're riding on a lot of tailwinds of the favorable policies, economic policies out there, right? So I wanna talk about this before I hand the floor to Phil. This is a subject to. You're currently sitting in this house, 10609 Olsen Drive in Rancho Cordova. We got this from the MLS. It was listed on the MLS since August 2023 for 60 days. Okay, the agent was incompetent. I called the agent. The agent told me that it was not for sale. I thought to myself, if it's not for sale, why did you even bother listing the house? Okay, so little did I know that she was trying to get it under contract from one of the bidders, and then get that to the bank to approve a short sale. That's just my understanding. So once she got one contract, she started working to negotiate with the bank to get it short sale approved. Never happened. She ran out of time. Never happened. The listing expired, and the owner, okay, it's going to be on the foreclosure. It's NTS. It's I think it's November, I want to say 18th or something. Stop the foreclosure, okay. Actually, I didn't buy it for $439,670, but if you check Property Radar, the deed, it's gonna say like about that, $440,000. Okay, the reason being is that there is the original loan amount is $406,000. Okay, and then they have a back payment of about $28,000. So give or take, it's about $440,000. Okay, that's what's recorded on the deed, the warranty deed. However, for me to cure the loan, because she's been behind, I had to bring up $28,000. Okay, and this is not. If you see the breakdown, the $28,000. Okay, that's the breakdown. There's principal, interest of November's payment, as well as the total fees charged and past due payments. The past due payments, $26,000. That includes the principal paid down as well. So we're not really talking about the 406. Okay, we're talking about something that's less than that. And this is what I just pulled in November. That's the current loan balance, $387,000. Okay, so keep this number in mind. Okay, so I pay this to the bank or to the lender to bring this loan current to stop the foreclosure. No notice of trustee sale. I spent $9,000 rehabbing this property. We painted the interior, okay, and the exterior. We changed out the toilets and kitchen flooring and stuff. And then we spent $12,000 on furnishing. I'll show you the pictures in later slides. Owing, if you add this number, and this number, it's about $50,000. Okay, so that's our owing cost. Monthly payment, you can see that's $2230. Okay, and that's the breakdown. Principal $773. Interest, escrow, that comes out to that. Interest rate is 2.75%. I bought the property with a really good piece of paper. You can't get that anymore. Right now it's like 6% or I don't know. Between 6 and 8, I believe, right? So FHA, 30-year. Maturity is October 2051. Okay? So that's how many years?
28.
20 years, yeah.
Any money go to the seller, or did you just buy it for debt?
I called the seller, and she was ready to sign because.
But did did she receive any funds out of the sale?
1,000.
No, nothing.
Just for the debt?
She just let it go.
Any balloon?
Okay.
There's no balloon. I just took over the loan. Yeah. She just wanted me to make sure that I'm current. Okay. This is set up auto pay. Monthly rent, according to AirDNA, is $4,500. So you'll net about $2,000 after subtracting utility, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then if you divide this 2,000, if you multiply 2,000 by 12 months, by 50,000, that gives you a cash-on-cash return of 48%. Okay? Yeah.
What did you say was your exit? Were you gonna hold this?
Just gonna Airbnb it until I can accrue. I mean, there's a reason why she couldn't sell it for $470. Okay, the $470 was so that the realtor can make some money out of it, commission. The market was really bad back then, right? Like coming from October all the way to the end of last year was just really bad. Nobody is buying, okay? So I was just buying it creatively, right?
So are you the owner of record, or do you call?
It's my company, Inside for Real Estate,
Right.
yeah, LLC.
So how's the transfer of the, since you actually didn't?
Just
assume a loan, you not assume.
it's separate, but Phil will go into detail. There is, you hold two pieces of paper. One is the deed that tells you you're the owner of the property. The other one is the mortgage. It's not a promise, a deed of trust.
It's a grant deed versus a trust deed. Can you try this?
Well, grant deed is the ownership. Deed of trust is the lien the bank places on the property. And then there's the promissory note, which is a private document between the lender and the borrower, right, the owner, that details the terms of the loan, right, the lender is giving you. Okay, in this case, it's 2.75% for 30 years. It's not really assuming, because when you say assume, you have to qualify yourself for it. Yeah.
What stood out to you when you're searching the MLS to go, to target this property?
Good question.
Days on market.
Days on market, yeah. Somebody said, this is, I don't know, over 45 days on market. There's a problem with the property, right? So you call the realtor is giving you a BS answer. So I skip trace the owner, and then I found the owner, and the owner is ready to sell right away. Sign the paper. Darren?
How many offers did you make on the MLS before this one landed?
One, just one.
Just one?
Yeah. I got really lucky. I was so surprised that nobody, like in the audience, actually talked to the seller. She's actually in the she got a divorce. They bought the house together, but as a result of divorce, they had to go separate ways. Yeah.
So did she take it off the market so that way you didn't
Yeah,
have to pay
expired.
the realtor fees, the commissions?
Yeah, you can't do that.
It was an expired listing, yeah.
So then,
She canceled like a week before, like we went into contract. Yeah.
Was it canceled or expired?
Expired, yeah.
both. as you can.
I think she just didn't have the time to run through the whole 6 months, so she canceled it. But if you go on the MLS, it says it's expired. Wait, so sorry, I'm not sure. I think it's expired. Yeah, I think it's expired.
I don't think you can change that.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Any questions on this? So anyway, if you're interested in being our gap mining founder, reach out, and we are always looking for deals as well as capital partners. Okay. By the way, I have a mastermind. Okay. This is for people who are already doing deals. We're gonna start the first meeting of our mastermind next week. Okay. This is only for people who are already prospecting. Okay. So that's the minimum qualification. We meet at 8 o'clock every Monday. We just go over our deals, and we try to help each other to get more deals or to move deals for those. It's AM, yeah, for like 30 to 45 minutes. We have 6 people. It's gonna be via Zoom. We have 6 people already, okay, in a group, and I'm looking to cap it at 8. So it's, huh? Okay, cool. All right. Talk to me afterwards, okay? Take a picture of this slide, will you? You can scan that QR code and then sign up for our newsletter. And we include a lot of real estate marketing tips, marketing update, investing case studies, opportunities. To scan that QR code. Again, if you are interested in attending our meetup, monthly meetup, this is what I'm talking about here. Feel free to just go to our Facebook page there and just follow us. And we release our event there, just a couple weeks before it happens, okay? And then you can follow us here. These are all our social media handles, Instagram, YouTube. We release a lot of educational videos on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get these videos for free. Okay, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook. All right. So there's 3 ways to partner with us. The first way is you can become a bird dog. Okay, and if you're a realtor, you basically get paid representing us as the buyer. Okay, and then since you're a realtor, you can also list the property for us, so you can double end. Okay, on both sides. If you're a bird dog, right, we'll just pay you a referral fee. The second way is that you can become our gap mining founder. Talk to Al Hong about this. About $50,000 per property, per project. That's all we need. If it's more, the project needs more, then we'll just pay out of our own pocket. Okay. Usually it's around 8 to 12% interest rate that we give you for a duration of 6 months. The third way is if you have a deal, right? We can become partners with you guys, and we can split 50-50, doing a joint venture with you. Okay. That's when you have a deal, so you have more at stake, so you'll be able to participate more equity that way. Okay. So that is that. I want to turn the table to Phil, and he's going to be talking about out-of-state real estate investing with the emphasis in subject to. He does Birmingham, Alabama, right? Even though he's like here in town, second generation contractor, right? He was born in New Zealand, okay? And he grew up in San Diego. Came to Sacramento how long ago? 2000, and he's been doing 30 flips, 30 deals since 2021. Okay, so let's give Phil a warm applause for him to come to the stage.
Okay, so like Kevin said, my name is Phil Smith. I am a second generation contractor. I still do sales for a local construction company, straight line construction, primarily exterior construction there. Then in addition to that, I've been doing real estate investing for a little while now. I'll get into my story a little bit as we go along here, but Kevin touched on the fact that this place was a subject to deal. So that's primarily what I specialize in. I do a lot of creative financing, but mostly subject to. So we'll get into that here shortly. Now, I started to talk about, when I was putting together my presentation, originally I told Kevin, hey, I'm going to talk about creative financing. Creative financing is a huge animal, right? There is so much to it. Real estate in general is a huge animal, right? So that's why, I talk to people all the time and I'm like, yeah, I'm into real estate. Oh, so are you a realtor? No. Do you have your license? No. You need to decide what avenue and what path of real estate works best for you. This, after trying a few different things, is what works best for me. It may not work for everybody, but I at least wanted to share with you guys about what I'm doing. So I also included in my slide presentation a few people that I've learned from over my years of doing this. So we'll send you out all these slides too, but there's some really powerful people that have a lot more information than I do on this because that's where I learned it, right? A lot of it is online, a lot of it they do in person. Anyway, creative financing. I just wanted to touch on this before we really started with the slides. So there's a guy named Dan Diaz who's I refer to in the back here. He's with a group of guys out of Texas called School of Sharks. And he has some very good online education. And he talks about creative financing in there a lot. And he talks about all the different things that you can do with creative financing and all the things that you can negotiate, right? When you buy a house. Everyone thinks it's usually just the purchase price, right? Well, okay. So you can negotiate the purchase price. You can negotiate the amount. You can also negotiate when it's paid, when that purchase price is paid, and who pays it. It might not be you. Okay? You can negotiate the down payment from 0 to however much you want, right? Also, you can negotiate when it's paid, who's paying it, how it's paid. Sometimes you can do that as an advance of monthly payments. Okay, I'm going to pay you $1,000 a month. Oh, you want a down payment? Well, how about I give you the first 5 months up front? Okay, there's your down payment, but it's not affecting your cash flow, so to speak. Okay, you can affect the you can negotiate the monthly payment, the amount, maybe none, maybe it's graduated, right? You can determine when it's paid, who pays it. You can negotiate the length of term. The longer you have to pay something back, the better. Now, what's going to happen over time to that piece of real estate that you have under your control or that you own? It's going to appreciate typically, right? Okay. What's going to happen with interest rates? We don't know, right? What's going to happen to the value of the dollar over that time, right? So if you've locked in a deal at $1,000 a month and you don't have to pay that for the foreseeable future for a while, it gives you all sorts of power. Okay. So you can negotiate the interest rate from 0. You could do simple interest. You could do amortized. You could do it graduated. Okay, I'm going to pay you 2% for the first 10 years, and then I'm going to pay you 5% after that. Right? You can negotiate prepayment penalties and prepayment discounts. All right. I'll give you this loan for 20 years. We'll do this loan for 20 years, but if I pay you off in 10, will you give me a 10% discount? Things along those lines, okay? And then there's always the deal after the deal. Just because you've signed an agreement and everything's going great now, doesn't mean it needs to stay like that. Situations change both for you and the seller. 2 years from now, all of a sudden, they might be in a cash crunch and are willing to take more of a discount on that property than they would have when you were buying it. So you can always go back to them. Hey, what about this? What about that? Always all sorts of things like that. So that's a little bit about creative financing. So huge topic. We're going to focus on sub 2. Okay. So what is subject 2? Whoa, how about that? Okay. So subject 2 is purchasing a property subject to the existing loan staying in place. okay? Realtors, do you ever write a contract and say, the buyer wants this house subject to the refrigerator staying, right? Subject to is just a phrase. It is used in the real estate investing world as typically regarding the loan staying in place, okay? Now the title to the house transfers to the buyer, but the loan remains in the name of the seller. Now a lot of people, this is a tricky situation here where they thought, well, if you sell the house, doesn't the loan have to get paid off? Or doesn't the loan and the title transfer? Not necessarily, okay? So you have a loan and then the security instrument securing that loan. It ties it to the house, okay? So a loan, and then there's either a mortgage or a deed of trust. Most people refer to a mortgage. I got a mortgage on my house. Well, technically that's not right, okay? Especially not in California because we're a deed of trust state, okay? So you have a loan which clearly defines the terms, like Kevin said, between you and another party. Could be somebody in this room, could be a bank, could be somebody else, could be the seller, right? You have a loan with the seller, okay? But then there needs to be some sort of instrument securing that. You've heard of unsecured loans? You know, most real estate loans are secured. They're secured to the property. They're secured through a mortgage or deed of trust. But those are separate from the title to the house, which is typically referred to as the deed. A lot of confusion people have is deed and deed of trust, right? So deed, think of pink slip to a car, right? Deed, okay? That's the deed. The loan is over here, and then there's the deed of trust, which secures the loan to the house. So they normally stay together. They can be separated with the deed of trust and the loan being in one name and the deed in another name. Anybody here have a family trust? Okay. Is your house titled in the name of your family trust or in your personal name?
Right now, still the personal.
Yeah, but typically it's when you have a family trust, right? You title your house in the family trust. Is the loan in the name of the family trust? No. Right? The loan's in your personal name. See, they can be separate. Okay? But they can also be separate to the point where this person owns the property, has the deed, and this person over here is the one who qualified for the loan and has the deed of trust. Okay? Got it? Okay, so you can completely separate these. Sorry, note, deed of trust. Okay? Loan, deed of trust. Hang on, I'm backwards. Deed over here, I'm getting myself confused. Deed over here, ownership of the house. Loan over here. It can be a grant deed, it can be a warranty deed, it could be a quick claim deed, all sorts of things to transfer that ownership, right? But it's the deed to the house. Now, if you really want to get crazy, you can split the loan and the deed of trust too, where you do something called a substitution of collateral. Now that's even cooler because now all of a sudden Kevin wants to sell this house, but he doesn't want to get rid of this loan. Right? He's like 2.75%. Why would I ever get rid of that, right? Well, he can do something called a substitution of collateral where it's not this house that's securing that loan. It's another house that he's got. But that's a topic for another day, right? Okay, so that's the craziness of creative finance, okay? But everyone got this one? Loan and deed of trust versus deed. Very important for as we're going to go forward here. Okay, so the benefits of a subject to deal. The buyer isn't using their credit for the loan, okay? It's the house has already got a loan on it in somebody else's name. The loan isn't in that buyer's name, okay? Which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Because if Kevin decided that he didn't want to pay this mortgage, what happens to him? Nothing. It's not in his name, okay? There's no limit to the number of loans a buyer can control. Okay, you're going to get copies of all these slides too, so just to let you know. Typically, if you're an investor, when you get up to about 10 loans in your name, banks get a little nervous. You know, it's a big risk for them. Okay, well, this loan's not in your name, right? So you can control as many loans as you want. Typically, a subject to purchase is quick and easy. We do what's called a tabletop closing. We'll just close right here at the kitchen table. Super fast, super simple, okay? The deed then transfers to the buyer or the buyer's entity, okay? Kevin mentioned this, that the house is owned by his company. Okay? There's other ways too, particularly land trusts, and we'll get into that in a minute. You also get to take advantage of historically low interest rates from the past few years. How many times you think we're going to see mortgage interest rates below 3% in our lifetimes? Is this ever going to happen again? No. Never. Never. I mean, this is once in multiple generations of low, right? I mean, my parents tell me that, that when the first house that they bought, they were paying 18%, right? It's like, and that's what mortgage rates were at that time. Interest rates were at that time. It's crazy, okay? So, common objections on subject to deals. Well, isn't this illegal? You can't do that. Absolutely you can. Check lines 203 and 503 on a HUD-1, okay? Government, federally issued document. Says right there, loans taken subject to. Why would anyone do this? They need a strong motivation to do this because, as Kevin said, the person who is selling the house is trusting you that you're going to make the payments on their behalf. Okay? If you don't make their payments, their credit is toast. Okay? And there's nothing they can really do about it other than sue you. Okay? So there needs to be strong motivation. But there's people out there that'll do it. We bought a couple November. Okay? Can the seller buy another house? It depends on their financial situation and the new loan originator. Honestly, most loan originators view a subject to purchase where that seller is no longer responsible for the loan like a rental. Oh, you're renting that out. You don't have to worry about that. And they give them credit for 75% of the incoming, or 75% of the payment. Okay? And then we talked about what if the buyer stops making the loan payments? Honor your promise to your seller, and we'll get into that again. Yes, sir?
How do you handle it when since like California is a trustee state, and there's the due on sale clause that says any transfer.
We'll get in there in just a second.
How do you handle it when the lender comes to you and says, hey, Bill, you need to pay this loan up?
They have yet to do so, but we'll get in there. Okay? I got a slide on that in a second. There we go, right now. Due on sale clause, right? Every loan written in about the last 40 years or so contains a due on sale clause, okay? And the due on sale clause stipulates that the lender may, huge, big, bright, bold words, may call a loan due immediately if the loan transfers to another party that is not the original borrower, right? They don't know who's taking over the payments on this loan. They don't know if that person has a good credit score, is going to make the payments. Especially what Kevin said right now is, why the hell would they want that 2.75% loan floating around out there when 7 is the going rate for today, right? Okay. One of the ways that we can do this is by transferring the property into a land trust. Okay, there's an article, or there's an act out there that was passed called the Garn-St. Germain Act, which essentially allows a property to transfer from an individual's name into the name of a trust, and they cannot call the loan due. Now, this is designed really for people who are transferring it, like you guys, into their family trust. But how do you know if it's a family trust or, a living trust or a land trust or personal property trust? There's a million different sorts of trusts out there, right? So if it's titled the 123 Main Street Trust, how do they know what it is as the lender? All they know is title has gone from, Sam Seller over here to the 123 Main Street Trust. What they're going to look at is they're going to look at the insurance. And this is where most people have issues with subject to deals. Okay? They're like, how do I get insurance on this property, right? Okay, well, the insurance needs to be in the name of the trustee of the trust, but that borrower needs to be listed as an additional insured on that property. Okay? So long as they see that that borrower is on there, they're fine. Okay, so they see, oh, looks like Sam transferred this into a trust. Okay, well, Sam's listed down there. I'm good to go. Okay, so that's the way we do it. Some people advocate, just leave the existing insurance policy in place and get added to it. That will never work, and don't ever do that because you're wasting your money. Okay? Now, subject to deals are made, not found. Okay? Most of the time, so there's a few people out there in the online space, Pace Morby being number one, right? Who's got a bunch of students who are out there and I'm looking for a sub 2 deal here. That doesn't typically happen, okay? Unless you've got somebody who's created a subject to deal and is now trying to wholesale it. What you want to do is you want to talk to the buyers and basically explain the situation and say, well, what if I could take over the payments for you? Don't say subject to, don't say I'm going to make you the bank, don't say I'm going to put cash in your pocket on a regular monthly basis or anything like that. Keep it simple, okay? A confused mind says no. If you start trying to overwhelm them with all these real estate terms and things like that, they're just going to say no. Say, well, what if I could pay you out your equity and take over the payments for you? Okay, or in Kevin's case, like this one, right? What if I could stop that house going for foreclosure, making up the back payments and keep the payments current going forward? Oh, you can do that for me? I don't need anything, let me sign. Okay, and that happens all the time. Okay? So, when you talk to people, ask questions. Okay? Listen and take notes. Find out what their motivation is. That's the biggest thing that you need to find out, okay? You need the 4 pillars: price, condition, timeline, and motivation, right? But motivation for sub 2 deals is key. If there's not a driving factor for them to be motivated, they're not going to do the deal because there's better options out there. I'm going to list it with a realtor. I'm going to sell it myself. I'm going to wait, right? However, there are people out there that will do it. And then you want to structure an offer to solve their problems. Okay, so like we said, we need to have a high level of motivation. Where do you find sub 2 deals? Foreclosures, just like this. Low equity. Okay, I just bought this house last year. I'm getting a job transfer and I need to, be in Houston tomorrow. Well, you guys know it takes a little bit of cost to sell a house, right? So if you've got low equity, these are great people to do it. That's what we target a lot of, is low equity people. People moving out of the area, tired landlords that are done dealing with the house. We just talked to a lady last week. It's a house that's in Alabama. She moved to Louisiana. She's been trying to do this as a rental and she's fed up. She can't do it anymore. So we basically offered her not very much to take over the payments on her house. $8,000 is what we offered her as our max, right? On a $300,000 house. Okay, inherited houses are another thing too. Houses that people don't want. It's people who need to sell a house, not want to sell a house, but need to sell a house. Military transfers, targeting VA loans is another great way of finding possible sub 2 deals. Right? VA loans, you're in the military often, or you have been in the military. You may get moved around a lot. Okay. Okay. So subject to is just a method of purchase, okay? It doesn't have to take, it's just one way of buying it. You can buy it with hard money, you can buy it with regular loans, you can buy it with, subject to, you can buy it with private money. There's all sorts of ways of purchasing a house, okay? But this is just one way. But once you get it, then what can you do with it? You can do all sorts of things with it. You can sell it with terms, a lease option, a contract for deed, a wrap mortgage, or sell it sub 2 again. You can fix and flip it. Well, look what Kevin's done here, right? You can wholesale it, dust it off, market it up, away you go. Long-term rentals, short-term rentals. You can do a sub 2 and have it be your personal residence. Why not? If you want to buy a house. So my son is here, okay, right, Blake? He's 17. He wants to purchase a house. One of the things we've talked about is he's going to be going away to college next year. What if he were to purchase a house with subject to and use it as a college residence and rent out all the other rooms?
House hacking.
Yeah, exactly. It's house hacking at a college level, right? How cool would that be? Do you think he's going to wind up really paying much for rent or anything like that in that sort of situation? Won't his roommates cover the mortgage payment? Pretty cool, huh? So you can do all of that stuff because you're buying it right, number one, but you're buying it with the existing financing in place. Now, we touched a little bit on these sub 2 deals that are being assigned. If you purchase or if you get a sub-2 deal under contract, don't assign it, okay? You are creating a contract, both verbally and written, with that seller. You've got to be a person of your word. If you turn around and sell it to Joe Blow over here, who's offering you $50,000 for that contract, what happens if Joe Blow doesn't make the payments? Do you know about it? You have no idea. You're out of the deal, right? You need to stay in the middle of the deal, like doing another sub-2 or something like that, right? Or selling it on terms so that you would know what's going on. You see all these people in the Pace Morby group about, hey, I'm assigning this contract for this $50,000 entry fee, right? Don't do that. It's just bad news waiting to happen, okay? I can talk about that all day, but seriously, don't assign sub-2 contracts. So typically, guys like Kevin, when he first got started doing fixing and flipping, right? They're coming in here with the cash hammer. This is the way I'm gonna buy this house. My maximum allowable offer is 70% of after repair value, less the repair costs. That's the maximum I can offer, right? Okay, so if we do an example, ARV's 350, we're just using as estimate for now, right? They're asking 275. They know it needs some repairs. Repairs are $50,000. Well, what's the MAO? Okay, so if we run the numbers, turns out the most you can offer for that property is $195,000. The most. You're not going to start there. You're going to start lower, right? Right? How many sellers are willing to part with a house that they think is worth $350 all fixed up for $195,000? Not many. Not many. So how can you structure other deal or other offers so that you get more money to them and they don't have to take such a haircut on the house? Especially when there's a existing mortgage on it already. Okay, you can create a much better deal with sub-2. Or if there's no mortgage, then you can talk about owner financing. That's another topic. Okay, you can pay up to their full asking price and still make money on the deal. Okay, with a sub-2. Okay, so let's go back to the example. Same sort of thing, right? How can we structure a deal on sub-2? Now there's a million ways of doing this. I just picked one. Okay, we're going to need a little bit more information on this though. We're going to need to know what their mortgage balance is, what their monthly payment is, PITI, interest rate, loan origination date, and fair market rent. Now these last two aren't quite as important, but I always like fair market rent because I want a backup plan. If I get stuck with this house and I can't sell it, I can at least rent it for what the mortgage is or the loan payment is and a little cushion, okay? So I want to know what fair market rent is for any property that I go into. Loan origination date, okay. When's most interest paid on a loan? At the beginning, right? As you go through an amortized loan, more of the monthly payment goes to principal. So if you're taking over payments on a loan, a 30-year loan that's 15 years into it, is that better than taking over payments on a loan that's 2 years into it? Yeah, every payment that you're making or someone else is making to that pay off that loan, more of it is going to principal, less of it is going to interest, okay? We'll come back to that topic in a minute. But I need to know these things, okay? Because this is going to help me determine if this is or what sort of a deal I can make, or if it's a deal. So in this case, we're going to say, hey, the mortgage balance was $235, okay? The monthly payment, $1,422. That includes some taxes and insurance. Interest rate, 3.5%. Think there's 3.5% loans out there that people have right now, right? Think you might want a couple of those, okay? The origination date, so we're saying that it's 4 years old, so it's not really old, okay? And fair market rent for this property is $2,100. And you think, man, that'd be nice. Where can I do that? We'll get there in a second, but that's why I invest in Alabama and Georgia, because those numbers are in Alabama and Georgia, okay? All right, so if they're asking $275, okay, realtors. It costs money to sell a house with a realtor, okay? There's commissions, there's closing costs, there's title insurance, there's inspections, there's repairs, there's and, right? So it usually costs the seller there's legislation and talk about changing things like that, but 8 to 10% of the sale price of the house to sell a house. So if you sell a house at $100,000, you get $100,000, what you're going to get in your hand is 90. Okay, 10%. Okay, so what if we go to our seller here and we say, hey, well, you're asking $275, and if you're going to sell it on the market with an agent, it's going to cost you $27,500 about in order to sell it. Okay, well, the loan balance is $230,000. So if we go to them and say, all right, $275 less $27,500 less paying off that $230,000 loan gives them about $17,500 in their hand at the end of the day. Okay, that's if they were to go this method, right? How long is it going to take for them to sell it with an agent typically? Well, we just saw it was 40 days, right? 40 days on market. Okay, so meanwhile, they've had to make a couple more mortgage payments. Maybe they're living in a new house now. Maybe they're going to have to pay for the utilities, some yard service. Maybe there's a break-in at the time, depending on the neighborhood. There's a number of reasons why people might be interested in doing this now. Typically, it takes us about a week from start to finish to do a subject to closing. Okay? So what if you offered them the equivalent of a $261,000 agent sale, taking over the loan subject to? So you said, okay, well, if we're going to sell at $261,000, it's going to be about $26,000 in closing costs you would typically have, and then you're going to take over that payment on that $230,000. So $261,000 less $26,000 less $230,000 would give them $5,000 in their hand. Okay, so what if I said, I'll give you that $5,000 now, lay the math out all for them, and then I'll take over the payments on the loan and you don't have to worry about this. And there's a lot of people that will, well, I won't say a lot of people, there's people that will do that because they have a high level of motivation. They need to be out of this house. They don't want to worry about it. This little lady in Louisiana, she wanted $24,000 in her hand at the end of the day. I offered her $8,000. Okay, she's seriously thinking about it right now, because the house has been listed for 6 months. She can't sell it. They're building brand new houses in her neighborhood for the exact same price that she's listed the house at. And she wonders why she can't sell it. Right? And I said, look, I'll take over the payments, and it's also a 2.75% loan. I'll take over your payments, and I'll give you $8,000 in your hand. How about that? She's not behind now, but she's getting close. She's exhausted her reserves. Okay. Anyway, so can you afford to pay in this sort of situation $5,000 for them to move and you take over this house and the loan? Does that sound all right? Yeah. Okay. So dispo, getting rid of these properties, right? What we do is we sell it to people who can't get regular bank financing. They just change professions. Oh, I used to be a dentist, but now I'm a janitor. Okay, that doesn't have the same amount of, Anyway, credit or document challenged. Anyone work with people that aren't here legally? Right? Okay, well, I can still sell them a house. Okay? They don't have to, it's not a fog a mirror thing. You still want to do a background check and a credit check and things like that and have them prove their income. But all these people are people that you can sell to. Okay? I've been a renter my entire life and I just want to own a home. I want to put down roots somewhere. I'm tired of getting asked to move every couple of years. I want to paint the inside of my house bright green because that's my favorite color, and I can't do that when I rent. All those things. So that's the way we sell them. Okay? So if we were to go ahead and sell this house, okay, we're going to mark up that price a little bit, that one that we bought for $275. We haven't done any repairs, right? We've maybe cleaned it out, made it look pretty, okay? So we're going to mark it up a bit. We're going to say, all right, instead of $275, that they were asking for, we're going to call it $300, okay? We're going to ask for 10% down, not 20. You can do lower, obviously. We try to have it be a minimum of $10,000 down. Okay, we want them to have some skin in the game. And then a new loan of $270,000 at 8% interest. Is 8% interest high?
Not right now.
Exactly. Okay. Right? It's higher, but it's not high. right? You're going to see in some of these examples some of the interest rates we've charged some people. And I'll tell you why we get that in a minute. But does that sound like a deal that somebody who can't qualify for a regular bank loan might be interested in?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've got some money incoming from upfront. You got $30,000. Your monthly payment, PITI, is going to be $22.81. The back end loan balance from when you get started, you have a $270,000 note with this person. Now your outgoing, you've promised them $5,000 to the seller. Your monthly outgoing is $14.22 PITI, and you're responsible for that $250,000 mortgage. Okay, so do a little math here. You make $25,000 up front. Okay, you get a monthly cash flow of $859, and this is just long-term rentals. This isn't even short-term rentals, right? And you get $20,000 plus on the back end. Why did I say plus?
But the interest rate.
What's that? Sorry.
House go up.
No, because you're selling it. It's a fixed price that you're selling it at. Okay, but why is there a plus? Anybody?
Because you're only responsible for the 250.
Well, you are responsible for that. Well, you have a personal responsibility and a moral obligation for the 250. But this loan is 4 years into it, right? At a what interest rate? 3.5 that we're taking over. The loan we're taking over is 4 years into it at a 3.5% interest rate. Okay? How much of that monthly payment is going to principal? Right? Now you got the new loan that's just starting at 8% interest. Okay? Just brand new loan. So over time, what happens is that underlying loan pays off faster than the new loan. So that $20,000 is the minimum you're going to get there. This thing runs 5 or 10 years, 25, 30, 35. Okay?
So is
All makes
there a
sense?
second lien and you go in a second position?
No. Nope.
There's no lien?
Well, I'm giving them so you can do it a couple of different ways. What we do is we do what's called contract for deed. So essentially, they have equitable interest in the property, but not legal title to the property. So I keep the deed.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay? All right? So they have a note with me, but it's not technically secured to the property. Okay? Because they don't own the property. Okay? All make sense? Any questions on that right now? Okay. A couple of deals we did. Okay? This one we just sold right at the end of November. Okay? So we bought it for $175,000. We paid $25,000 to the seller. There's a $150,000 loan at 3%. PITI is $928 a month. Okay, this is Bessemer, Alabama, a suburb of Birmingham. Okay, we sold it for $195,000 with $20,000 from our buyer. New loan at $175,000 at 11.45% for a monthly payment PITI of just over $2,000. The reason we sold it at 11.45% is because that's what we could get. We structure our payments so that PITI is equivalent to what monthly rent is in the neighborhood. And the way we market our properties is we say, why would you rent when you can buy for the same price monthly? Okay? You got to come up with a little bit of money up front, but as you know, everyone likes to, all the mortgage brokers and realtors like to say, hey, buy the house, date the rate, right? The rate on a rental is 100% interest. Okay? You're not getting anything out of that. Yes, that's a historically high interest rate, but we don't want them to stay in there forever. Well, it'd be okay if they did, but we're hoping these people are going to fix their credit and refinance us out. Because remember, we've got a back end on these deals too, right? Of $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. One I'm going to show you in a second of $100,000 at the back end. So we want them to refinance at some point in the future and go into a conventional loan and pay us off. Okay?
And that's how they get ownership of the house.
And they get the deed at that point, right? That's contract for deed. So if you think of contract for deed like a car, when you purchase a car from a dealer, right, with their financing, You get the car, you drive the car, you do maintenance on the car, you put gas in the car, but you don't have the pink slip. The pink slip's with the dealer still until they pay it off, right? That's what we're doing here. Okay, so they get the house. Their house is their responsibility. They do the maintenance, they do the repairs. Okay, we don't do anything to that house anymore. We are now the bank. Okay? When they refinance, or if they win the lottery and they want to come give us cash, right? That's when they get the deed. Okay? So the profit on this deal, well, we left $5,000 in the house. We try not to leave too much money in the house, but sometimes we leave money in houses. Okay? So there's $5,000 in there because we had to pay $25,000 and we only got 20 incoming. But we've got a monthly cash flow of $1,000. Okay? And we've got $25,000 plus on the back end of this. Okay? All makes sense? Everyone following those numbers?
So Bill, what would be the con for the buyer doing the contract for deed? What would be the con for
They don't have the deed. That's the biggest thing.
Other than that,
And they need a big down payment.
Well, I wouldn't say big, because if they're going to go try and buy it traditionally, they're going to need 20% unless they're doing FHA or something like that, right? So, and we'll do lower down payments, but we shoot for 10%.
so one of the things that could be a con for the buyer is if there's any litigation come against the company that owns the property, let's suppose there's a tax lien from the IRS for the entity that owns the property, or some type of litigation being attached to that property, then they're going to be, they'll have to deal with that.
Who owns the property?
In this case, be your company.
No, my company does not own that property.
So when you did the contract, so title to this property is held how?
In a land trust.
Okay. And I
How many land trusts do I have for each property?
Okay. So
One land trust, one property.
yeah. So
Okay.
one of the things I have dealt with, I know when I was dealing with the title company to do one of these very similar, the title company said, I said, can we get a title insurance in this? They said, no, we will not give title insurance. How
Correct.
do you deal with that?
We do not get title insurance. Title's not clear, right? The borrower over here still has the mortgage or the loan in their name. Title's not clear.
So do you at least have them do an escrow and take a substitute so they lead, you see the liens and encumbrance on the property?
Yep, so we do our own title search. Okay, so we do a title search, and that's what takes us longest to do on our property, is to get a title search done, to make sure that title is clear leading up to us. Okay, because sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes might be a lien on there, and as you'll see, we're going to have one on here that has a big lien on it. Okay, but we found it during our title search. Okay.
Do you do the title search yourself, or do you have a title company?
We have a company called Pro Title USA. They're online. It costs you a couple of $100, and you can just go online and do it, and they usually get it back to you in about 3 to 5 days.
So you don't work with a title company at all?
Hardly ever. We do have so Alabama is typically an attorney state, not a title company state.
Oh.
We do have a real estate attorney, and he will close deals for us all the time. But it's much faster and much quicker and easier for us, and cheaper, if we just get our own title search done and do all the documents ourselves. Okay? Yes?
Quick question on the refi.
Yeah.
Just like Carl was saying, or like you just said, title can get a little. Will the bank who's doing the refi, will they accept that contract too?
Yes.
As ownership?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's equitable interest, right? It's not physical interest. It's not, but they have an equitable interest in the property.
So I gotta pick your brain more after this.
Yeah, no, of course.
Did you say it was Pro Title?
Pro Title USA. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so that's one deal we did. Okay. This one, Alabaster, again, just outside Birmingham. Bought it at $262,000. We paid $5,000 to the seller. Okay, this guy was ready to just walk away from this house. He had already had a loan mod done. That's why he was at 2% interest. Okay, $204,000 loan at 2% interest. PITI of almost $1,100, but he did have a $53,000 lien on the property. Well, we dug into that and found out a little bit. Okay, so we sold it, and this was a couple of years ago before interest rates went up. We sold it at $320,000 with $10,000 down and $310,000 loan at 7%. Think that guy's okay with that 7% now? Yeah. He's probably all right with that. So we don't anticipate him refinancing anytime soon, which is unfortunate, because I'll show you in a second what the deal is. But it's $2,200 a month coming in PITI. So our profit, we made $5,000 up front. We've got a cash flow of $1,100, okay? That $53,000 lien drops off this year in 2024.
IRS.
Yep, it's an IRS lien because it has a 10-year statute of limitations. In the meantime, the dude has died, okay? He died at like last year. So even if we stopped making the payments, there's no one to go back to for any problems, okay? So we've got $106,000 plus back end on this one. So we'd love to see this thing cash out. However, it's cash flowing $1,100 a month. It's all right. How many of those do you need to do in order to be able to retire, right? And we don't do anything to this house. That's the beautiful thing. You know, Kevin does the short-term rentals, and he has people doing all the stuff for him. The bookings and the cleanings and the repairs and the furnishing and stuff like that. We get these, we clean them out, we do some very minor repairs, and then we turn around and list it ourselves and sell it ourselves, okay? And we make $300 to $1,200 a month, positive cash flow.
How are you typically listing your properties out there?
For Facebook Marketplace, yard signs, you know, just online typically. We've got a website. Okay, this one is in Georgia, Macon, Georgia. We bought it for $91,000, and yes, believe me, these prices are real. It's crazy, I know, right? We bought it for $91,000, $2,000 to the seller. I just need to walk away from this. She was living in Atlanta, had owned this house, had tenants in it, couldn't deal with it anymore, just wanted to be done. $2,000, all she needed, okay? $88,000 loan at 3.6%, $635 a month PITI. Anyone like those numbers? $635 PITI. Oh, that's beautiful.
And is that a middle class neighborhood or
Yeah,
low?
it's a middle class. We're looking for working class neighborhoods is typically what we're looking for. Okay, sold it at $115,000. Still pretty low. Hang on just a sec. We got $7,000 from our buyer. We got a new loan for $108,000 at 14%. Why 14%? Well, that's what market rate is for rentals in that area. Okay, it's a low-priced house. It's only $108,000 for that. So it rents for about $1,400 a month in that neighborhood. Okay, so that's what our PITI is. So our profit, we made $5,000 up front. We have $765 a month cash flow and $25,000 plus on the back end. Going back to your question.
Yeah, so when you're looking and you're assessing and running numbers on this, do you look at affordability index?
Absolutely.
For that area?
Absolutely.
What do you use for that as a
Well, I'm going to go there next, right? So you're reading my mind. So part of what Kevin asked me to talk about was, essentially it's what I'm doing, right? And so I'm buying subject to, but I'm buying out of state. And we're going to get into that in just a second on how we determine where we buy out of state. So investor partners. I have investor partners in this room currently. We've raised over $1 million in private money from friends and family. Busy, high net worth individuals. IRA money. If you guys aren't taking advantage of this, you should be. Talk to people, convert their IRAs into self-directed. Why do you want to convert it to self-directed? Because you can buy real estate. Exactly. Can you buy real estate in a regular IRA? Nope. Okay. The thing that we have found that gets our name out there and gets us known and gets people coming up and talking to us is sharing your journey, successes and challenges, right? Kevin does a great job of this with his online presence, right? He's posting videos and pictures and things like that. Even pictures of him at the gym, right? He does stuff like that all the time. He's very good at it. Much, much, much better than I am. But what my partner and I do is we'll post things like, hey, just bought this house. Hey, just sold this house. Hey, check out this testimonial video from one of our happy sellers, buyers, an agent we worked with, right? We ask all these people for testimonial videos. And if you're not doing that, you are absolutely missing out. Powerful to get a testimonial video as opposed to just a little blurb somewhere. Okay? All right. So this is the way, and then we have people come up to us all the time and say, hey, what's going on with real estate? I have a buddy, he was going to come here today, lives up in Auburn, woke up late. I saw him yesterday. He's like, hey, I'm sitting on some cash. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I need to talk to you about this real estate thing. okay, I'm all ears, right? I said, hey, I'm going to actually be presenting tomorrow. Come to that and we'll talk about it. Okay? So we give good terms, we secure it, yada, yada, yada. But over $1 million in private money, right? Think about how many deals you guys could do with that, right? That's a big hang up that a lot of investors think. It's deal flow and cash, right? Where am I going to find these deals? And once I get that deal, how am I going to do something with it? Okay? Well, you don't have to have money. Well, you have to have money, but it doesn't have to be your money. Okay? Kevin talked about his gap funding, investors. Same sort of thing. We're always looking for more investor partners. So if this is something that, intrigues you, you want to learn more, we partner with people and go in on a deal together too, right? All this good stuff. Okay. Any questions on that subject to stuff before we switch gears here and go to out-of-state investing? Yes?
Contracts and attorneys.
Yes.
So you have your own contracts in place already, or is the real estate attorney that is helping you close creating that contract for you?
So we have our own contracts that we have run by him and have him vetted. He's vetted them and made sure that they are correct. Okay? So typically what we've done is we have done a couple of deals through them, and then oh, well, that's what that looks like. Okay, let me recreate that. Okay? So we want to make sure that everything is above board, and if anyone is very nervous or anything like that, we'll say, let's go close at the attorney's office. I've got no problem with that, either on the buy side or the sell side. On the sell side, we try to do it all the time at the attorney's office because it carries more weight as opposed to going to a UPS store and signing there. Right? But if you're sitting down at the attorney's office and signing this paperwork and, oh, well, okay, this is serious. I can't just walk away from this house and this loan. But on the buy side, I walk into a house and I know that the title's clear and I know what the details of the mortgage are. I'll see the paperwork right there. I got no problem with that because I've got the documents in order to be able to do that. That answer the question?
Yeah, are there any other fees there with the closing, with the contract and the filing?
I file it myself. There is a program out there, now I'm going to blank on the name. I'll get it for you, but there's a program that lets you file online. It's a couple $100 a year or something, I think. Most mortgage companies have them, or have this something like that, so you can just file it online. I'm filing deeds in Georgia from my house in Folsom, right? How awesome is that? We also used to use mobile notaries to go and do it for us too.
So are you going to Georgia to?
I have not seen the inside of any of these houses. Now I have a partner, and we're going to get into that in a second, which is very helpful. She's my boots on the ground in Birmingham. Okay, but you noticed we're not always in Birmingham. We've bought houses all over Alabama and all over Georgia.
So when you say you go to the house to do the signing with...
Oh, we could do that, but so what'll oftentimes happen is my partner or somebody else, sometimes just a mobile notary, will go to the house and do the paperwork. Right? Someone has to go there.
Right.
Ryan.
I was going to say, just before we get too far from it, you talked about how sharing your story, your successes, and I don't know if you said your failures too.
Challenges.
I knew you had something that
Yep.
was like, I know what he means by
Yep.
that. I know a lot of people are really worried about that, and I just wanted to let you guys know, not to steal the spotlight, but my company has it's like a 23-page document that walks you through how to do that on your own.
Nice.
So if you guys are looking into making some kind of content and have no idea where to start, let me know, and I'm happy to give that to you guys for free.
Okay.
I have a quick question. What's your process for finding these type of sellers? Because they sound pretty unique, as far as a needle in a haystack.
Well, I wouldn't say needle in a haystack, right? But there's certain parameters that you can look for those people. I mean, we talked a little bit about high levels of motivation, okay? Foreclosures is a beautiful one, right? This house was a foreclosure, right? Look for foreclosures. You can offer them sub-2 deals. Look for people that are tired out-of-state landlords. These are all things that you can run search criteria for in Property Radar or PropStream or anything like that. And if you guys aren't doing that, you need to have those subscriptions, right? You can pull those houses or those owners and you can mail them, you can skip trace them and call them, you can text them, you can bug the shit out of them, right? And that's kind of what we do. So we're looking for those people that we think there is going to be a higher level of motivation than, you know, just your regular guy who wants to sell a house. He doesn't need to sell a house. Make sense? Okay.
Hey, Phil, I do want to just have one bit idea.
Yes, sir.
Some years ago, I bought a second deed of trust at an auction from B of A for $1 and a penny. It's a $23,000 second. Be an auction, I bought it for $1 and a penny. And B of A was in first position and second position. They tried to enforce the due on sale clause. However, was able to defeat B of A. They backed down. I've never had a lender call a loan due on the due on sale clause, exercise that. I've had them try to. Now with the Garden St. Germain Act of 1982, in the fine print it says, which most people at these banks are not gonna, they don't know. Take them to the lawyers and do deep dive research they can, but a land trust won't qualify.
Correct.
It have to be like a living trust.
Correct.
So and so.
But how do they know it's a land trust?
Well, we may say like 123 Main Street.
Yes. So
nonetheless,
you can title it whatever you want.
These folks in the bank, unless they take it up to a lawyer, they're not going to know.
Yeah, the people processing the paperwork, they're going to be like, oh, okay, seller.
I've even done it to an LLC. It's actually like through a Section 351 transfer. And that's through an entity where you can transfer property per 351, a Section 351 transfer, and that's where the owner of the property transferred to their entity, and the ownership does not change at all. And we've done that there as well, and where the lender did not call the loan due on the subject to because the LLC of the entity was still held by the individual.
There's all sorts of ways to do it. Honestly, a lot of investors freak out over the whole due on sale thing. It's not an issue. Okay, does it happen? Yes. It usually happens to the stupid people, honestly, because they do something dumb like transfer the house into their own name, right? You know, or they call the bank and say, hey, I just bought this house. And like Kevin said, just don't tell the bank, you know, just don't tell the bank that you just bought the house. You know, if they don't know, they're just happy to be receiving that monthly payment. And especially in a situation like this house, she's $26,000 in arrear. They're happy to get that. They don't want to own the house. They want the cash, right? They're not in the house owning business. They're in the paper owning business. They want the monthly cash flow. You know, would they like it if it was at 7% interest versus 2.75? Yes. But if you just make the payments and just keep sending it in, I don't give a shit.
Oh, one other thing I do want to share as well is that regarding the monthly mortgage payments, I actually have them send the mortgage payments to me now because I have a certain document I've been using for more than 20 years. And this document has been very, very powerful because the document I use, I have them sign that, and the bank, with the previous owner's permission, they'll send the mortgage payment to me. I write the check. I get all the correspondence from the bank directly to me for that person. One of the best things I got was I got an escrow check from Chase Bank for $18,000 that was due to the previous owner. It came to me. And I collect that money and deposit it.
We get that all the time. I just got an email yesterday that said, hey, we've just done an escrow analysis on your account and we're sending you a check. Cool. It was on that first house that we looked at on Parker Road.
Or do you just use a POA?
I use something as one of my secret documents.
Yeah. But a POA is great. A power of attorney is great. That's another way around the due a sale clause, right? You can transfer the property back and forth as many times as you want if you got the BOA. Oh, I'm going to call the due on sale. Well, I'm just going to deed it back into the original seller's name.
Well, how do you cash the check?
Put it in the bank.
Here's how you cash the check, okay? The way you cash the check is this. You don't go inside the bank and deposit. Do not do it. There's
Put in the ATM.
Of the laws, you go to the bank, deal with the teller, ask for ID. But use the ATM card and put the ATM machine. Then you can. I got that from a Great West or Chase guy just last year. But I put that $18,000 check through my ATM. Got another check from another property I did for $7,500. I just put it in my ATM machine and it went right on through. But that's where you do it.
Yep, exactly. We've done that too. All right. Okay, cool. So subject 2. So let's move on real quick.
I think
almost running out of time.
Uh-oh.
How more?
How
much time?
It's a little bit, so we can call it good there if you want. We can do this another time.
Let's see here.
How much more time you want?
Can we end at 1 o'clock?
7 minutes? Let's go. Okay, out-of-state investing. First, you need to find out where you want to invest, okay? You need to decide and evaluate those potential markets, okay? You want to look at city and county data and size. Bestplaces.net is a beautiful website which tells you a million different things about different areas, okay? You need to decide how you want to buy and sell. Do you want to buy subject to? Do you want to buy cash? Do you want to buy with hard money? How do you want to sell? Do you want to fix and flip? Do you want to do short-term rentals, long-term rentals? You know, sell on terms. You need to look up the supply and demand in that area, okay? Demand far outweighs the supply. You looked at the stats that Kevin gave us right now, right? There's not much going on right now, but there's still demand. People still want to buy a house. There's just not many available, okay? Use Property Radar or PropStream to find that data. Look for your competition or other possible collaborators. You know, Kevin talked about bird dogs and things along those lines, right? If you're going to be a fix and flipper, hit all the wholesalers in the area and say, hey, I'm looking at moving into this area. Can you help me understand this area, right? Related professionals there. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, notaries, things along those lines. RIA groups, Google them, find one. Find somebody, you know, if Kevin got a call from somebody that was looking to come into this area, would he talk to them? Absolutely he would, right? When you get it all done, you want to focus on a specific zip code or a specific type of properties. And that's what we do, is focus on specific types of properties more than anything else, okay? Okay, you're going to need these people when you're out of the area. You need an attorney, a title company, contractors. You always want more than one. Don't get stuck with just one. Handyman or yard service, real estate agent, mobile notary, boots on the ground. Someone to go do something like change the locks, right? To put a sign up out front, to go take some pictures for you. Okay, all those things. Trust but verify. Okay. Being so far away, you can't go to the house and take a look at it, okay? You got to trust. You got to get photos of everything. Photos, and then over-communicate what you want, okay? Text them, email them, so that there's no room for error. And then follow up to make sure things are done. Don't just assume it's going to get done, okay? Hiring somebody local. Local Facebook groups are great for that sort of thing. Get recommendations from other people. Get 3 quotes in writing. And then make them jump through a few hoops to make sure they're going to do what you want promptly. If they're not willing to give you a written estimate and they're not willing to get it to you by 5 p.m. on Friday, do you think they're going to do the work, right? The way you want it? And then you need to decide, do you want an employee or a partner? Sometimes it's best to have a partner, not an employee. Okay? This is a brilliant piece of literature that comes out every year. And if you guys don't know what this is, you need to look at it, okay? It's the Milken Institute. They do a report every year that talks about the best performing cities, both large cities and small cities, okay? They rank them like 1 through 200, I think, for each of them, okay? It's great. Number 1 cities for 2023, large was Provo, Utah. Small city was Idaho Falls. And they tell you why. They give you a million different statistics of why they think it's the best city. Okay? When you're out of state, you still want to look and act professional. Okay? You need to get local phone numbers and list your local phone numbers on the 411 directory. You need a local address. Use a FedEx or UPS store with mailboxes, okay? You want business cards. Speaking of which, I left some up on the wall right here with my information on it, so if you need that, grab it. You want a website. Facebook, Instagram, Yelp, Bing, all those things. Look professional. Look like you're from there, not some guy that's on the other side of the country. Ask for initial reviews on some of these places from friends and past customers, and then join and post in local Facebook groups, okay? What have I got? 3 minutes, go. Oops, hang on, let me go backwards there. Okay, so this is us, right? Smithwell Group is my company. Okay? So you can see here, there's a business card for my partner. There's our website. There's some video testimonials. There's our Facebook page. All of those things make us look professional. Okay? Deal evaluation. Let the numbers guide you. Too many people get hung up on, oh, it's a really cute house. Oh, I like that neighborhood. Okay? You can't visit the house or the neighborhood. You can't fall in love with the house. Use the information and recommendations of trusted people to see if it's worth doing. And then remember, you're not living in the house. Okay? Do the numbers tell you if it's a deal or not? Okay? And then invest with certainty. As my coach, William Tingle, says, if there's a question, there is no question. You want certainty on these deals. You don't want to speculate from all the way across the country. Okay? If you want to do a trial run, next time you're investing locally, don't go to the property. Okay? Have other people do it. Right? Some people, that would be really hard. Kevin, could you do that? Could you not go to the property?
Really hard.
Exactly. That doesn't work for everybody, but for some people it does.
I had that happen back in about 05. I was my buddy of mine. We were buying a house in Oklahoma. And I was like, we're supposed to close in a few days, and I got the property inspection and was talking about pretty much excessive cracking. Talked to the home inspector. He's like, yeah, it's really bad. The agent's like, oh, he's over exaggerating it. And I'm like, I'm going out there. I literally could go up to the baseboard and put my hand under the foundation away from the framing. The cabinets had about a 1-inch drop from the corner over feet. So
those are all things that you may not see, right?
I would just say, I'd at least make a visit to keep people. It does keep people accountable.
So you got to have somebody that you trust there, right? And if you don't have somebody that you trust, it makes it an awful lot
How
harder.
many times have you been to Birmingham?
Maybe half a dozen.
Half a dozen.
Half a dozen over 3 years, right? So usually I go see my partner a couple of times a year. We work on our business, but I don't go look at these houses. I've been to a few of them, right? Okay. So yeah, anyway, not everyone likes to do that. Oops, here are we? Are we done? No. There should be more.
And of the side.
Yeah.
Hey, so if we wanted to contact you in California to do one of these, could we pick your brain?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my son Blake right here, 17, wants to buy a house, right? So I want to start looking more locally now to do some deals. So we want to do maybe a few little fix and flips. Well, currently he's just in high school. He's at Folsom High. He doesn't know yet.
I haven't gotten accepted anywhere yet.
Yeah.
It's just everything's coming out in March, so we'll see.
So he doesn't know where he's going to go yet, but he wants to learn. So I would much rather teach him in our own backyard rather than have to fly him to Alabama all the time.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Why you chose Alabama and Birmingham and the other one?
So it's Alabama and Georgia is where we work, and the main reasons why are because the numbers work there. Okay, because I can buy a $100,000 house and rent it for $1,100 a month.
Is that in the Milken report or no?
Affordability is in the Milken report, yes. But you just need to run some numbers and look at it, right? Everyone knows the 1% rule, right? When you're looking at properties. Sure as hell doesn't work here, but it works back there.
Yeah.
Okay? So anyway.
You have a guide, basically.
Exactly.
You went to a website and do the math.
Yep, you can do the math. It's pretty straightforward. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about this, whether it's subject to or out-of-state investing or anything like that. Call me, text me, shoot me an email. My cards are right over there. I thank you so much for your time. Sorry for being so long-winded, but I wanted to make sure you got the information. Thanks, brother.